Hi, parents and caregivers, and students too. It's time for us to do a read aloud. So, this year in Ohio Science, we have been talking a lot about living and non living things for kindergarten and first grade friends. For my friends who are in the third grade, they've been learning about what makes a habitat belong with certain animals, such as what does a bird need in order to live in a habitat? What type of things does the bird need to eat to be in that habitat? So today I thought it'd be fun to read a book that applies to both of my grade groups that I do, and it is called Amazing Animal Homes by Chris Peckham, and it's illustrated by Jason Cockcroft. Now, for my kindergarten and first grade friends, we've been talking about what is an author and what is an illustrator. Do you guys remember? That's right, our author writes the words and our illustrator draws the pictures. So when we're done reading this book, I'll have a question for you guys to answer, and you guys can answer it in the comments below. All right, friends, let's go. Amazing Animal Homes. See, here's some of our animals right here. Let's find out about their homes, friends. It says, like you, animals need a place to call home, where they can be safe and be a family. This is a barn owl who lives in a barn. Some animals even move into our buildings. These shelter them from the weather and help them find food such as mice. My kindergarten first grade friends, take a minute to pause the video and talk with your family about what the word shelter means. We've been talking about it a lot in class. Others are born with ready-made homes, or they find shells that they carry around with them and can retreat into, such as the hermit crab. Some animals get together to form an underwater colony, such as coral, that grows and becomes their home. On land, trees offer an ideal place to rest at night. And it's not just birds that make nests up high to keep them out of the way of danger. So, my kindergarten and first grade friends, now is the time to talk with your parent about a natural resource and how the tree is being a resource to the animals. For my third grade friends, you can talk about why the animal would need to live high in a tree with a family member. Did you guys have some good answers to those questions? I hope you did. Let's keep reading, friends. Rocky caves are perfect hideaways for many different animals, both predator and prey. Did you know that our ancestors once lived in caves? Living underground is better for other animals. They dig burrows and tunnels to keep warm or cool. Would you like to see some other animal homes? Before we flip the page, start thinking about some ideas of animal homes that you know about, friends. Did you get to talk about it with an adult? Okay, let's keep going. Darwin's bark spiders live by themselves and are very small, but they make the world's largest webs. They stretch their webs across wide rivers and lakes. A spider spins silk into the air, and this is carried by the wind from one side of a river to the other. Halfway along, it spins a different sticky type of silk into a huge wheeled web to trap flies and other insects that are flying above the water. So in our story here, we can see our friend who's observing in nature the type of webs that our spider is making. Thousands of honeybees swarm together in hives, which they make inside trees, hollows, or caves. They produce wax that is used to make the cells of the honeycomb. My kindergarten and first grade friends, we've been talking about products that both animals and plants make in the wild that we humans use. Now would be a good time to talk with a family member about what some things are that are considered products. Do you remember when we talked about trees and how trees are made to use furniture? That's one example of a product. The honeycomb acts like a pantry to store honey that the bees make from nectar called flowers. It also provides a safe nursery for the queen bee's eggs. For my third grade friends, this would be a good time to talk with a family member about life cycles and how we talked about how the animal will change as it keeps getting bigger. African termites also live together in colonies. They build chimney-like mounds on top of their underground nests, which can be taller than a giraffe. The hard-working insects mix soil and their saliva together to make the mounds, which have lots of holes in them to let hot air escape from the nests below. That's a pretty cool fact. And there you guys can see that there's a termite, and then he's working on his home with his friends. This is the type of environment in which the termite lives, which my third grade friends can tell you why a termite might need to live in a hot environment and make some good predictions. Let's continue reading the words on the next page, friends. Some of these termites' homes, or ternitariums, are used for over 100 years. They become hard like cement as car drivers find out when they occasionally crash into them. That's something new for me. While some animals must work hard to make places to live, others have a mobile home as part of their bodies. In North America, which is where we live, friends, gopher tortoises are born with protective shells. When the temperature soars, they dig burrows under the desert to hide from the hot sun. Here are some of the animals that live in a desert habitat, friend. Can you see them? Let's find out what the page says. Underground, they are also protected from skunks and other predators such as snakes. When tortoises leave, their burrows may become homes for as many as 360 different types of animals, including burrowing owls. That's kind of cool because all my students know Miss Joy's favorite animal is the owl, guys, and I just learned something new about my owl. That is awesome. So, for my third grade friends, this will be a good time to pause the video and talk with a family member about what makes different environments different, like the rainforest versus the desert. Remember, we talked about that earlier this year. Banded snails also have a ready-made home. These soft-body animals are known as mollusks, and they live in Europe. Unlike their close relatives, the slug, these snails grow beautiful spiral shells. They can pull their soft bodies into their armored homes when they're in danger of being eaten by birds or other animals. Here's a picture of the snails which they're talking about, guys. And there's the snail using its home for protection. In winter months, the snail hibernates inside their shells. They form a dried layer of mucus around the entrance to stop themselves from drying out. The master house builders of the bird world live in South America. Red ovenbirds feast on snails and insects, but sometimes they become food for snakes, birds of prey, and even domestic cats. To keep chicks safe, the parents build dome-shaped nests that look like little ovens. That's the nest that they're talking about in the story, friends. It can take the adult bird months to make the nest using mud or clay mixed with hair or straw. A narrow entrance leads to a divided space with the cozy egg chamber lined with soft grass and feathers. North America pileated woodpeckers. Hey, North America is where we live, guys. We're learning about an animal that lives in our continent. Are the carpenters of the bird world. They care for the young inside large hollows that they chisel out of the dead or decaying trees with their powerful beaks. The leftover wood shavings create a soft carpet inside the chamber. The birds defend their home area or territory all year round. By drumming loudly on trees, they attack other birds that try to steal their nest sites. So friends, this is a picture of what the woodpecker's nest looks like. The North American beaver, once again friends, this is an animal that lives in our country and continent. This is exciting. Is the second largest rodent on Earth. These intelligent animals live partly on land and partly in water. They are famous for building wooden dams across rivers and lakes. There's a picture of our beaver friend carrying his stick. The beavers cut down trees by gnawing through them with their front teeth. When they drag the logs into position on the water, they collect rocks and mud in their paws and pack everything together to make a watertight lodge. The lodges have underwater entrances that lead to eating and nesting areas. Sometimes lodges connect to burrows in the side of riverbanks. So friends, a good way to think about that as we look at this picture and see the different diagrams of their houses is their front door is underwater, which is really cool. I want my front door to be underwater. In the seas around Indonesia, the amazing eel-like star pearlfish hides from its enemies in some very weird places. The leopard sea cucumber lives on the seafloor. It has no nose, so it breathes through its bottom, which relaxes as it breathes out. When this happens, star pearlfish take the chance to swim inside. So with this, an animal is being used as a home for a different animal. And that's just part of our animal kingdom and how they take care of each other, friends. Now that you've learned about so many unusual and interesting animal homes, perhaps you can try to find some when you are out and about near your own home. And back here, we have a glossary, which for my kindergarten first grade friends, and my third grade friends know this too, this is where the author puts more information about new and unfamiliar words that we heard in the story. So when we see a bold print word, like right here, African termites, we can flip here in our glossary and see if they wrote us more information about the termites. Alright friends, for my kindergartners and first grade friends, I want to hear about what your favorite animal and their favorite home was. You guys can draw me a picture and write me a sentence, or you can tell your adult what your sentence is, and as you dictate it, they can write it. For my third grade friends, I want to hear about how the animals' houses and the animals work together in making their habitat. For example, the beaver is in water. Why do you think the beaver is in the water? Or the woodpecker makes its nest inside the tree. Why would it be helpful for it to have its nest in the tree? Pick an animal and explain why their home is where it is and how it helps that animal. Friends, I look forward to seeing your comments and what you guys write to me and how you respond back to me. Keep up the good work, Keep up the good work, students.